is Tom Izzo. And I really hope that this doesn't end up becoming a thing. I haven't watched any kind of sports talk stuff. I haven't checked any like the major websites to see if this is actually being a thing. But
it will be. It will be. You know it will be.
I think it'll be less of a thing because the tournament is starting right now. The game, like the real big games, are starting right now. It's Friday, and he lost, and Michigan State lost. But what happened last night for the second time in the span of 2 years, I guess, when was the last one? And it was 2019. So yeah, so the second straight tournament, Tom Izzo got caught on camera, like just laying into one of his players, cursing him out. It was Gabe Brown this time, and like Kenny Smith was getting on him afterwards, and there was a lot of talk about, yeah, you can't coach like this, and I really just hope it doesn't become a thing because it's so frustrating for me. This is the biggest problem with the way the NCAA tournament is covered, is that since it dominates the sports landscape, but it only does it for like this 1 month. You have all of these people that swoop in and helicopter in and parachute in and pretend that they know what they're talking about, and they cover the sport all year long, but they don't, and they can't provide any context into the way this stuff works. So you see Tom Izzo cussing at one of his players, grabbing one of his players' shirts.
Well, it's like that with McDermott, right? I mean, it's the same thing with McDermott, but this one obviously.
No, what happened with McDermott is very.
I'm saying people making judgments on people that they have no idea who they are, and they're not. They have no context to it. All they see is one comment with McDermott. Here, all they see is, oh, it's Izzo doing it again, right? He's yelling at his players. His players yelling back at him. Man, Tom Izzo is an old school coach who won't change. Like, it's a bunch of bullshit. You talk to any of Tom Izzo's current players, and more importantly, his former players. Talk to the former players. They all absolutely love him, none of which have ever said a negative word to me, ever, whether it's Draymond Green, whether it's Kalen Lucas, whoever it is that you talk to that's a former player, Matt McQuaid, who just graduated a couple of years ago, who he killed early on in his career. All these guys understand Tom Izzo and his philosophy, which is tough love, but it's also, I'm going to put my arm around you afterwards, and I'm going to talk to you about it, and we're going to figure this thing out. And but again, like, I don't know. I feel like that is the best way. Tom Izzo's not abusing his players. He's not physically, he's not mentally abusing his players, because he's got a relationship with these guys where he can do that, and they understand why he's doing it.
Yeah, and two things. One, I'm going to bring this up real quick. Nathan, the last 2 days, we went through literally every single game. We talked every single game the last 2 days. Every single one of the, if you watch the stream, you can go find it on our YouTube channel, Field of 68. Every single game is broken down in each region. It's clipped up and it's posted on the YouTube channel right now. So if you need that, go get it. That's why we're kind of talking about what happened last night more than just breaking down these games, because we already did it. We have nothing else to say. We've already broken them down. Second thing
we'll give you our best picks here in a little bit.
The second thing, and I think the most important note here is that the breakdown or the reaction of Gabe Brown is, I think, what's really important there. And you see Gabe Brown go right back at Izzo, right? And that's the culture that he has fostered. That's the culture that he wants and the environment that he wants in his program and with his teams. He wants guys that are going to be fiery and guys that are going to be competitive and guys that are going to go at each other. He wants to be able to yell at his players and have his players come right back at him. That's what he wants, right? Yeah. And if you go back and watch, like, everyone's freaking out because he grabbed Gabe Brown, and I think they grabbed him because he was mad at him. But he was grabbing Gabe Brown because he wanted him to come back and because he wasn't finished making his point. You know, it wasn't like he was grabbing him because he was pissed. He was grabbing him because, like, no, come back here. Like, we got to finish talking. Don't walk away from me, man. Like, we're in the middle of something here. And I promise you that what happened in that locker room when they got in there was everybody started yelling at each other. And then Tom Izzo was like, yes, this is awesome. We're up by 11. Let's keep this going. And then they go and they start breaking down the stuff that happens in the next step. Now,
maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't go at it enough at halftime because, man, it's funny, and we'll get into it now. Let's get into the games a little bit. Last night's games.
Because, I want to make one more point because the issue that they had was like in that moment was something that really cost them in the second half. Like basically the adjustment that Mick Cronin made was he went small, and he knew that Michigan State was going to try to switch everything and that they weren't doing a very good job with their ball screen coverages, and he just tore them apart that way, right? Like he was able to space the floor, find the mismatches he wanted, created the switches, and then just like bit by bit chipped away and ended up finding a way to beat Michigan State in the second half. So the reason why Izzo was mad was because he knew that something like that was very possible.
If they also what it was? Jaime Jaquez, he just out hustled the dudes. Like seriously, he just got like a couple. He got two of the biggest plays. He missed the bucket around the basket on one play. Then they got the offensive rebound, and it ended up being a 3, I think. Or there were 2 plays where he just got second chance points that were based on effort. And I felt like that was the biggest thing, honestly, was Michigan State didn't put their foot in the pedal. The same thing that Wichita State didn't do. They both should have put their – like Wichita State should have been up 10, 15 points at half, and instead they're going in up a point. Drake is thinking like, oh, my God, like how are we in this game? With the way we've played for 20 minutes, we should be down 20 points. And instead they went in halftime looking at that score and saying, we played as bad as we could, and we're right there.